So in this video, I'm not going to show you the normal growth tactics that you see a lot of people speaking about. I'm going to be explaining exactly and showing you the practical step-by-step process or fundamentals that you need to take to ultimately build an irresistible personal brand that is authentic and valuable, or vulnerable rather, and valuable, both, right? It's a brand that you are building that allows you not to have to compromise who you are as an individual. You don't need all these fake growth tactics to build something impactful and ultimately to make cash from it. Right at the end of the day, that's what we need. So I can guarantee you, if you take the steps and take what I share with you in this video and apply it to your brand directly, you will see amazing results. These are the same steps and processes that I've taken or I've used on clients that have helped people like one of my clients, Daniel, go from literally pretty much a zero to 100,000 followers more across platforms in 4 months. Another one of my other clients, Gal, who went from 1,000 followers to now he's just hit over 12,000 followers in the space of a couple of months. This stuff works. It's what I used to grow my brand from 2,500 to just under 60,000 followers now. And it's how you can cultivate a brand with or personal brand with real impact that people actually fuck with and people connect with, right? So this is going to be no BS kind of run through of the practical steps you need to take. With that being said, let's get stuck straight into it. So there's a framework called the Creator Positioning Pyramid, which actually Abraham Casais, my business partner, came up with. And I think it's such a good way to explain the concept of positioning, how to position your brand properly so you can create a brand that is vulnerable, that is authentic, but still allows you to make cash from it. On the bottom layer, you have creator, right? Which is where a lot of people currently are. It's where I used to be as well. And in this stage, you tend to be creating a lot of quote like kind of generic content, but more it's scattered, right? You don't have a strategic purpose behind your brand. And you might be creating vlogs, you might be then creating some stuff around content, some stuff around food, and it's a little bit all over the place. You are creating content, but there's no strategic objection with it, right? And you blend into the masses of everyone on social media. Now, an important thing to mention is that as you go up this creator positioning pyramid, the higher that you go up, right, the better your positioning becomes. The more trust you build, the more distinguishable you are from everyone else that is in your space or creating stuff uh, around the topics and subjects that you are creating content around, and the more trust that you build. And obviously, the more trust you build, the better your positioning, the more cash you can ultimately make from your personal brand. So the next is then expert. This is someone that is knowledgeable, someone that has real knowledge on a subject and they're able to add tons of value to people. But they tend to be kind of creating content that is almost already out there, right? They are taking information from other creators, like top creators in the space, moving it around slightly, tweaking it slightly, and then just saying the same stuff. It's a good place to be, but there is a lack of, to a degree, authenticity, connection, and personal insights. Okay, and then you move up into authority. This is then think of like thought leaders within your space, the top creators, the top entrepreneurs that are taking information they get from other people, thinking about it, processing on it, and then creating their own version of it and coming up with new ideas and new concepts and new ways of doing things to really understand the space for themselves. And then finally, on the top of the creator positioning pyramid, you get celebrity. So, celebrity is like you are known not only within your industry, but also outside of your industry. You think of people like Alex Ramosi, Gary Vee, like these big, big names that are a lot of people know them, right? I wouldn't say it's not essential, and you might not ever get to celebrity status, but you don't need to. The goal is to go from creator to expert, expert to authority. To kind of put this title together, this is the positioning monetary graph, right? So you have positioning on the y axis, cash on the x axis. And you can see as you go from creator to expert and expert to authority, your positioning gets stronger, okay? While being still vulnerable, while being authentic, and your brand then starts to become more irresistible. And as your positioning gets stronger and the trust increases, you can charge more for your services because people trust you more and they're connected to you and your story. And that is the goal that we're working towards. How does this look? Right? How are we able to actually do this? Let me break it down for you. So you have the old model and the new model for building an expert personal brand. Okay. And I'm going to be using expert because I think a lot of people are in that space, myself included. I wouldn't necessarily, I'm moving up as much as I can, but how are you able to be in that expert space, but still have tremendous amounts of positioning and trust with your audience? So people are like, cool, like this person is amazing. I want to buy from them because I resonate with them, etc. I connect with them. So how do we do that? So I'm going to look at it in this context. We have Bill. Okay, this is where a lot of people are. This is where I was. 100%. I was stuck in a position like Bill. So Bill is right. He's pretty knowledgeable, has great information, can definitely help you, and he has definitely has the skills, right? Probably even a proven track record of helping people. But the problem is Bull, like if you look at him, he looks pretty grumpy. Grumpy, he has no like he's in a suit and ties or stuff, like there's it's difficult to relate to him. So even though he has knowledge, he can help you and he has the skills, he looks, sounds, and feels like everyone else, where he lacks momentum. He's playing these algorithm games of like chasing trends, hashtags, trending audios, like those sort of things that all these gurus tell you to do, but they don't really build a real brand. And he's posting and praying, hoping the time, the energy, the effort that he puts into his content, into his brand is going to do well. But the thing is, at the end of the day, what lands up happening is he just feels burnt out because he's been doing all of this like time, energy, and effort into content, but he just looks and feels like everyone else. And things look generic. No one connects with him. Doesn't have a story that he's sharing. I was there. And I bet potentially you are too if you're watching this, and a lot of people are here. So, how do you move out from this like old expert model? Well, meet Jet. Okay. You can already see Jet is like he's got so much more of a vibe going. Has a nose strip on, Steve Jobs turtleneck, a wife beater. He's tattoos. He's even got Crocs. The AI wouldn't let me add the Crocs in fully, but you can kind of see it, right? So the thing is, like Jet, he's knowledgeable. He can help you, and he has the skills, just like Bull. He probably even Jet probably even has a little bit less knowledge or a proven track record, but he does three things differently that really makes his brand impactful, memorable, um, authentic, and vulnerable. First one, creates resonance with his content, deep sense of resonance. He has a systematic, strategic approach to how he does content, and he cultivates a sense of affinity. So I'm going to break down exactly how to do each one of those. But before we do that, just look at the two side by side. I'm curious, like, which one would you want to work with? Leave a comment down below, if you would want to work with Bill or you would want to work with Jet. In my opinion, I think it's pretty obvious, right? Clearly, I would personally want to work with Jet. And if you have found this helpful so far, I know we're going to get into the juicy stuff in a second, but if you found this helpful so far, subscribe, like, leave a comment, let me know what's been the most impactful part for you currently. And yeah, let's dive into how to actually make this transition from Bull to Jet, from being just like a normal creator, generic creator, to moving into expert, to then positioning yourself as the go-to expert through resonance, through affinity, through a systematic approach. So number one, resonance. What is resonance? Like, what do I mean by that? So here's the definition. The occurrence of a vibrating object causing another object to vibrate at a higher amplitude. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? The more that you are you, the more that you bring parts of yourself, your values, your beliefs, your story into your brand, the more that people are like, this person's really cool. I relate to them strongly, right? So it's like building a tribe of people who just really fuck with you, not for the information that you're giving them, but for who you are as an individual. How do we do this? How do we create a deep sense of resonance? So there's four key things that you need to do. First one being is self-awareness. Get really clear on who you are. What do you stand for? What matters to you? I think that's what a lot of people miss in the space is like, it's easy to create content. All the information is out there, but it's difficult to create content that you want to create. So take the time to really take a step back and understand like what do you like, who are you as an individual? What do you value? You know, and when you're able to start bringing that into your content, that's when people start to relate to you on a much deeper level than just the information you're sharing. Two, goes a little bit more in depth, clarify your values and beliefs, right? That is then your internal compass that guides your brand forward. Three is remove the barriers to natural self-expression. You speak to the camera as it's a friend. Obviously, it takes time, it takes practice. The more that you do it, the better that you get at it. But you don't want to be like sitting there like Bull with a suit and tie, like all stiff, and you know, relax into it. Allow yourself to be yourself. Like, if you laugh, if you're funny, like allow that to come through in your content. How would you sit down and just chat to your friend normally? Let that come through, and think of your friend being on the other side of the camera, or the camera just being your friend in general. The more that you do it, the more that you can just let yourself kind of relax into it, and it's really that simple. It's just about getting the reps in. And then fourth, alignment attracts. It's why it's so important to be self-aware and aligning your internal compass with your brand, because when you do that, you attract the right people, the right opportunities, and the results that are meant for you. But when you don't, and you move from this space of inauthenticity, when you're not being authentic and you're being fake online, you land up attracting those people that are not in alignment with you. So you build this audience of people that don't actually know you. They know you from the fake version of who you are. And that's not what you want to do, right? Because then When you're cultivating this community, you're cultivating a community or opportunities that are disconnected from you. So even if you get uh, people that are wanting to do business with you, etc., from that, you will still feel this deep sense of like, oh, I don't really want to do this, you know. And I'm speaking from my own experience because I was there. Like I felt so depleted in what I was doing because my brand was disconnected from who I am. Number two, systematic strategic approach. So you don't good news, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay. You There are so many people who have walked the path that you are currently on. Use their path to help guide you on your journey. There are proven formats known to work. So find the ones that excite you and double down on them. Think of it like this: movies, series, the ones that are your favorites, they all follow a very similar story arc, right? There's the intro, there's a climax, a problem, a conflict that happens, and then resolution. And all of them follow it. The reason why they do that is because it works, right? It keeps people engaged, excited. The creativity happens within the constraints of that format. So you want to find ones that are already working on social media and then find your creativity within that. When you strategically building a brand that's authentic, that's vulnerable, that's irresistible, um, you let that come through within the formats, but you know that they are going to work because they've been proven ahead of time. Examples of this is like man on the street. So maybe you know Simon Squibb. He goes in London, and he's interviewing people. It's a very engaging format. But then the interview kind of flows and there's creativity within that. Um, Props or visual metaphors. So using physical objects to explain abstract concepts. There's a guy that went viral where he was literally using Play-Doh to like explain fat loss, things that it's unique. It's like it creates that visual aspect. Or tutorials slash how to, so framework breakdowns and whiteboard videos, exactly like this, right? It's a format that I'm using, but then I have my own information within that. So um yeah, an app two apps that I've used that really helped me with social media. One is Instack and one is Viral Finder. So you can look at top performing creators within your space, look on their profile, see their top performing posts. And if you see a format that's been used multiple times, like more than five, it's probably a format that's worked well for them. So you could give it a try and test it with your own audience, with your own creative twist in it, of course. And last but not least is affinity. What is affinity? What do I mean by that? So this is the definition: a natural liking for something or someone. So maybe, there's brands that you really like or a restaurant you really like. You can't quite tell what it is, but it's the food, it's the smells, or it's the quality of the clothing, the mission behind it. Maybe you're on social media and you see someone and you're like, I don't know what it is. I like the person's vibe. That is affinity. People don't buy products or services. They buy into a story, a feeling, a belief that they share with you, the sense of relatability that they can connect with. Your brand is your story, right? So when you share real emotional human stories, you create a connection, a deep connection with your audience. And that's where you start to build trust, when you start to position yourself properly, differentiate yourself from what everyone else is doing, and you start moving up that positioning pyramid. Connection builds trust, loyalty, and action, right? The higher you go on the positioning pyramid, the more you connect with people, the more your trust goes up, and the more money you can ultimately make. So there are two ways that you can create affinity within branding. There's branding and positioning through creative choices, colors, fonts, music, sound effects. You can use like a color psychology wheel to see which color correlates with what emotion. Um, Music, like how you want people to, what emotions you want people to feel when they're listening or watching your content, sound effects, branding, and then there's branding and positioning through being. Who are you, right? Your stories, your beliefs, your values, your energy, and your vibe. Allowing that to come through, showing up authentically, showing up vulnerably, and that then creates the emotional connection with people, cultivating affinity. To tie this all together and to bring it together in a full circle, you have format, okay, proven formats to work, the systematic strategic approach, which cultivates the visibility. Your story plus authenticity is then the thing that creates connection. So it's like the creativity, the connection, the vulnerability within the proven format. The end result, brand loyalty and sales. So proven format creates visibility. Your story plus authenticity then creates the connection. And then you've done all the hard work. And the end result is you just have these people that are coming up to you and being like, oh, I love your content. I really resonate with you. Like, can I work with you? Take my money. And it's this whole concept of attracting rather than like this scarcity, like come work with me, please pay me. No one likes that, and everyone can feel it, right? So you're gonna repel people straight away. Um, I actually, my business partner and I, Abraham, we created an hour and a half training on these concepts, deep diving into how to build an impactful personal brand without compromising who you are, and turn that personal brand, create an offer, and make cash from it, in a really impactful, aligned way that allows you to show up as you turn your stories, expertise, and knowledge into a brand that makes you money. I'll leave it in the description. You can check it out. If you found this helpful, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe as well. And if there's anything specifically that you want me to go over around personal branding, content creation, um, to dive deeper on these YouTube videos, just leave a comment, let me know. And yeah, I will do my best to create one. I'm really wanting to get into more of a flow with this and just creating tons and tons of value for you guys. And you're going to play a big part in that. So if you can let me know, that'd be a massive help. Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll chat to you soon. Take it easy. Peace.